Peace to you, my dear one. You have not stumbled upon this message by accident. The stillness that brought you here, the unseen hand that whispered in your spirit, those are not coincidences. They are callings. Today, I want to share something sacred, a truth that's been kept in silence, waiting for the ones who are ready to remember. The chosen have been called, and if you are watching this, then perhaps you are among them. You see, life moves so quickly. The world urges us to run, to chase, to prove. But in that rush, we often miss the voice of the divine. We miss the messengers, those silent nudges, the strange coincidences, the sudden emotional waves. But 4 have arrived now. Not of flesh and bone, but of energy and purpose. 4 angels, each with a divine message, meant not just for your ears, but for your heart. Let me tell you how I first became aware of them. It was many years ago. I was walking through the Himalayan trails, wrapped in silence, alone with the sky. The cold wind bit at my skin, but inside, I was warm, peaceful, until I felt something, like a pulse through the air. A shift. Not fear, not anxiety, just presence. I stopped walking. I looked up. No one was there, yet something was. And I heard, not through sound, but through stillness, a voice. You have work to do. Prepare. 4 will come. And then it faded. At first, I thought it was my mind playing tricks. But then came the signs. Gentle at first. Dreams, visions, the same symbols repeating in different places. And then, in time, the messages became clear. I wasn't alone, and neither are you. The 4 angels are not of wing and robe, but of essence. They don't appear in the sky. They appear in your life, through people, through pain, through moments of deep clarity, and each brings a lesson, one that, if embraced, transforms the soul. The first angel arrives quietly. You may not even know they've come. This angel carries the message of awakening. They often come through pain, a loss, a betrayal, a disappointment. We ask, why is this happening to me? But the real question is, what is this trying to awaken in me? Do you remember a time when your heart broke so deeply you didn't know who you were anymore? That was not the end. That was the beginning. That pain was sacred, because it stripped away what was not you, to reveal what is. This first angel teaches us to wake up, to stop living on autopilot, to return to the present moment, raw and real. I remember a young man who came to me. His wife had left, his business had collapsed. He said, "I have nothing." But as we sat in silence, he began to weep, not from grief, but from release. "I feel free," he said. "For the first time, I can breathe." That was his angel, and he listened. The second angel is more subtle. This one brings the message of truth. You will feel it as a discomfort in your gut when you lie to yourself, when you pretend to be happy in a place your soul does not belong, when you smile but ache, when your soul whispers, "This is not it." This angel doesn't shout, it nudges. It brings people into your life who challenge your story. It removes the masks you wear, sometimes violently, sometimes lovingly. I, too, wore masks once. The mask of the obedient son, the mask of the holy monk. Until one day, in front of an old blind woman, I crumbled. She said, "You speak with your mouth, but not your heart." I was angry, but she was right. And that moment, though humbling, was sacred. Because truth liberates, but only when you are ready to live it. The third angel. The most misunderstood one. This one brings stillness. Most people confuse this with stagnation. They say, "Nothing's happening in my life." But in that stillness, great things are unfolding, like seeds in the soil, growth unseen. You may feel abandoned, lost, forgotten by life. But listen, even the moon hides for a time. That doesn't mean it's gone. It's just renewing. This angel teaches patience. Deep, sacred patience. And in that stillness, you meet yourself. Not the self others expect, but the true one. The one who isn't defined by titles or roles, but by presence. The fourth angel. We'll speak more of them soon. For their message is the most divine of all. But first, I invite you to pause. Take a breath. Feel this moment. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. And those moments of stillness, they are sacred appointments. Do not rush them. I want you to reflect on this tonight. Have any of these angels visited you? Did you mistake their arrival as a burden instead of a blessing? Because once you recognize them, your life changes, and that's what we'll talk about next. In the next part of our journey together, we will meet the fourth angel, the one who brings with them the greatest challenge and the greatest blessing. Until then, remain in peace. Let this message settle into your bones. If you're still here, then perhaps your soul recognizes this truth. Maybe somewhere deep inside you remember. You see, truth has a way of doing that. It doesn't just inform, it awakens. And now, dear one, let us speak of the fourth angel. The angel whose presence is often mistaken for chaos, for endings, for being lost beyond return. But in truth, this angel brings the message of surrender. Now I know, surrender is a word we resist. We think it means giving up, letting go of our power. But the opposite is true. Surrender is not the absence of power. It is the alignment with a greater power. This angel does not arrive gently. They come like a storm, like a wave that knocks you off your feet. They remove what you thought you needed, what you clung to, so you may receive what you truly came here for. It's terrifying at first. I remember the night this angel found me. I was alone in a cave near Bodh Gaya. The rains were heavy. My thoughts were louder than thunder. I had been fasting, praying, seeking answers, and yet I felt empty. That night I cried out, not in devotion, but in frustration. I screamed into the darkness, "Why do you remain silent? Why show me nothing?" And in that moment, everything stopped. No wind, no rain, just silence. Then came the words, not spoken aloud, but from within. "Because you are still clinging. Let go." "Let go of what?" I asked. And the answer came softly, "Everything." This fourth angel is the one who teaches you to release your idea of how life should look, to stop forcing the plan, to stop fighting reality. They ask you to trust, not blindly, but soulfully. To trust when the relationship ends, to trust when the job disappears, to trust when your body changes, to trust even when your path is dark. Because something is unfolding that you cannot yet see. This angel doesn't promise comfort, but they promise freedom. And that freedom only comes when we stop resisting what is. There is a story I often share of a woman who visited me many years ago. She had lost her child in an accident. Her eyes were vacant. She said, "Why would God allow this? I cannot forgive life for this." And I did not give her answers. I sat with her, in silence, for hours. Finally, she asked, "What do I do with this pain?" I said gently, "You surrender to it, not to be swallowed, but to become one with it." Surrender does not mean agreement. It means acceptance of what has already happened. A year later, she returned, but she was different. She had started working with grieving mothers. She was laughing. Again, not because the pain had gone, but because it had transformed. That is the work of the fourth angel. And once this angel has visited you, everything begins to shift. Because after surrender comes clarity. Once we awaken, speak truth, embrace stillness, and surrender control, the path begins to light up. But not before. Too often we ask for the next step while we're still clinging to the last one. Life cannot deliver tomorrow's blessing to a heart full of yesterday's resistance. So let me ask you now, from soul to soul, what are you holding on to that no longer serves you? An identity? An old pain? A story that keeps replaying? You cannot rise until you release. You cannot fly until you free yourself from the weight you've chosen to carry. No, it's not easy. Letting go never is. But you are not alone. The angels, these 4 divine messengers, they are already with you. Maybe they've taken the form of a painful ending. Maybe a strange dream you keep having. Maybe a friend who spoke a truth you didn't want to hear, and maybe they are arriving now through these words. They don't come to punish you. They come to prepare you. Because something greater is being asked of you. A more awakened life. A more honest self. A deeper surrender. And what waits for you? On the other side of that surrender is peace. Not the peace of a quiet room, but the peace that lives even in the storm. The peace of a soul that no longer needs to control everything. You have that power. It's not outside you. It is you. So now, dear one, breathe. Let yourself feel the presence of these angels. And more importantly, listen. Because the next part of our journey takes us deeper still. We will explore what happens after the angels arrive, the signs of transformation, the subtle shifts in perception, the whispers of the divine that begin to guide your every step. You will begin to see life not as chaos, but as choreography. So join me in the next part of this sacred unfolding. There is more to receive, more to remember, more to become. Until then, walk gently and listen closely, for the divine is already speaking. Dear beloved traveler, you've walked with me this far, and that in itself speaks volumes. Not everyone stays through silence. Not everyone listens beyond the noise, but you did. And so now, you're ready for what comes after the angels have arrived, after the inner ground has shifted, after surrender has softened your soul. This is where true transformation begins, not the kind that shouts for attention, but the quiet kind. The kind that changes your lens, not just your path. The world around you may look the same. The sky still stretches wide, the faces are familiar, but something in you has awakened. There are signs when this happens, not loud signs, but sacred ones. You begin to hear things you didn't hear before. The wind speaks, the trees echo truths. Even the silence starts to feel full. You stop asking, what is the meaning of life? And begin asking, what meaning can I bring to this moment? You no longer chase happiness like a finish line. You realize it was always inside you, quiet and waiting, like an ember. Let me share something sacred with you now, one of the first teachings I ever received from my master when I was just a boy. He sat me down, held up a stone and said, "Do you know the purpose of this stone?" I said, "To sit?" He smiled gently. "No, its purpose is to be, and by being, it teaches all who come near it. You don't need to move mountains to fulfill your purpose. You simply need to be fully what you already are." That teaching changed my life. Because we spend so much time striving, becoming, proving, earning. But enlightenment is not about becoming something new. It's about remembering what you've always been, and that is the greatest gift the angels bring. Not answers, not destinations, but remembrance. Remembrance that you are not here by chance. Remembrance that even your wounds are sacred. Remembrance that love, true love, begins within. When this realization dawns, your actions begin to shift. You start to speak with more presence. You pause before reacting. You begin to offer grace, not because others deserve it, but because your soul does, and people notice. They may not be able to name it, but they feel it. Your energy changes the room. Your silence speaks more than noise ever could. You become, in your own way, a messenger too, a reflection of the divine, a voice of peace in a world that forgets its own heartbeat. That is your calling, not perfection, but presence, not grandeur, but grace. You begin to see that the very things that once broke you, your heartbreaks, your mistakes, your losses, were not detours. They were doorways. Each one brought you closer to your true self. And now, as your heart opens more fully, something unexpected happens. You stop searching for signs because you realize you've become one. You are the sign. Your healing becomes a path for others. Your stillness becomes a sanctuary. Your surrender becomes your power. And this, dear one, this is what the four angels prepare us for. Not to escape this world, but to live in it with open eyes and a tender, unshakable heart, to walk slowly, to love deeply, to give generously, to listen intentionally, to live as if every breath is a prayer. This is where your true journey begins, not with noise, but with a deeper silence, not with more doing, but with sacred being. So now I ask, you, what kind of sign do you want to become? A reminder of peace in someone's storm? A moment of light in someone's darkness? A hand reaching out in quiet understanding? Because you are more powerful than you've been told, more loved than you may realize, and more necessary to the unfolding of this world than you could ever measure. So take one last breath with me here. Inhale, gently. Exhale, fully. Let go, because in the next part of our journey together, we will step into the final message, the great convergence of all four angels' wisdom, what it truly means to embody their presence. Every day, every choice, every breath, this will be the conclusion, not an end, but a sacred beginning. I'll be waiting there, with you. Until then, keep listening, because the divine is still speaking. You've come so far, through the quiet call of awakening, through the brave mirror of truth, through the sacred pull of stillness, and the humbling power of surrender. Each angel came, not to give you answers, but to reveal the answers already resting within you. And now, here we are, not at the end, but at the threshold of something new. You see, dear one, life is not a line, it is a spiral. Each season returns, but you are different. Each lesson comes again, but this time, you listen differently. That is growth. That is grace. So what do we do now after all we've uncovered? We live it, because the real teaching doesn't end here. It begins the moment you close your eyes, rise from your seat, and carry this stillness into the world. When you answer your phone more patiently, when you smile at a stranger more sincerely, when you forgive without needing an apology, you become a vessel, a sacred echo of the divine. You see, these four angels, they don't only arrive once, they walk with you, always. When you lose your way, they return. When you forget who you are, they whisper. When you feel small, they remind you of your light. So if you ever wonder again, why me? Remember, because you were chosen, not chosen to be better, but chosen to remember. To remember your worth, even when the world forgets it. To remember your light, even when it feels hidden. To remember your peace, even when storms rage around you, and you are not alone. Every person who watched this far, who listened through the stillness and sat in the silence, you are part of a sacred circle. Now, a quiet revolution of awakened hearts, and that circle includes you. Together, we are shifting the world, not by noise, but by presence, not by force, but by remembering, not by chasing, but by being. So let me leave you with one final story. A traveler once came to the Buddha and asked, "What have you gained through meditation?" The Buddha smiled and said, "Nothing." The man frowned. "Then what is the point?" And the Buddha said gently, "Let me tell you what I've lost. Anger, anxiety, fear of death, the desire to control others, the constant need to be right, the hunger for more. That is the point. And maybe that is what you are gaining now. Not more to carry, but less. Less noise, less fear, less doubt, and in that sacred space, you are becoming who you were always meant to be. So walk forward now, not faster, but fuller. Walk like your steps are prayers. Speak like your words are offerings. Love like it's the only language worth remembering. And when the world grows loud again, as it will, come back to this stillness. Return here, to this space between you and I, between you and yourself. Because here, the angels are always waiting, and so am I. May your days be calm, your thoughts be clear, your heart be whole, and your soul be free. Until our paths cross again, walk gently. The 4 angels have arrived, carrying ancient wisdom that speaks directly to your soul. In this deeply introspective journey, a humble monk shares stories, truths, and sacred teachings to guide you through awakening, surrender, and transformation. If you felt a shift within you during this video, let us know in the comments. I heard the message. I am ready. Join the community of awakened souls. Like, subscribe, comment. Your presence helps this message reach the hearts that need it most. Share this video with a friend who's ready to receive the call.